Hi guys, it's Halfway Astray. I'm at a public park. This is a tree over here behind me. He's gonna help me to declutter and get rid of Fluent in 3 Months by Benny Lewis. Frankly, sitting inside that cluttered office makes it kind of hard to get rid of this stuff. It's like every time I look at a little bit of it, it saps some of my motivation to get rid of the stuff. I think this is how I've ended up with keeping all these books and all these papers and all this stuff for all the years that I have. It all kind of accumulates in one spot, and every time I walk into that spot to try to clean some of it out, it manages to suck me back in, and then I end up keeping all of it, and in fact I end up adding more to it. I found out about this book because I was listening to a podcast, and this was, I don't know, several years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And you know, it's a good book, but I'd be lying if I said that I got through the whole thing. I didn't get through the whole thing. I studied Spanish when I was in high school and college, and so I thought this could help me and give me some techniques and some tactics so that I could you know, take my fluency with Spanish to the next level. I mean, this I think is one of the hallmarks of a lot of these projects that I start with. They don't really have a clearly defined goal. It's just like, oh, that sounds cool. that sounds interesting. I've had to come to terms with the fact that I'm really not going to be able to do quite all the things that at one time perhaps I wanted to do. Life tends to get in the way, and there's priorities, and there's only enough time in each day and each week, blah, 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 blah. Maybe I could get to the point with this where I would be fluent enough to work as like a translator or something. I know, that sounds ridiculous now, Tree. You don't have to peanut gallery over here. I know that it was important for me to travel. I wanted to, you know, go around the world and bring my kids with me as well, which I haven't been able to do yet. They're still pretty small, so that's a goal. Become fluent in 3 months with a brand new foreign language, and it just sounds so good that it hooked me in, and I believed that that could be me too. But it's not me, and instead I'm gonna have to let go of this book and probably let go of this little dream that I had for a minute. You know, that's the other thing. It's not like this particular project, this particular dream is not something that I was aspiring to over a number of years. I just was listening to a podcast and it sounded really interesting, and I thought, I'll bet I could be good at that, and I bet that'd be fun to learn that stuff. I think at the time I was having to go through learning like a lot of really boring, you know, IT stuff, so I thought that going and learning this language would actually be a lot more fun in comparison. You know, I don't know. Sometimes these decisions, especially these buying decisions for me, they're not very well thought out. Sometimes they're just, you know, in the spur of the moment, I'll just buy something like this. And I think it was like, you know, I don't know, it says $17.99, so I probably paid like, you know, 20 bucks total for this thing. Not a ton of money. But what comes with it now is that I've carried this thing around for 3 or 4 years, or it's sat on a shelf in my office for 3 or 4 years, just laughing at me. And every time I see this book, I feel like a tiny little pang of guilt because I didn't follow through on reading the whole book. It's probably just never gonna raise to the top of the priority list, and maybe that's okay. I mean, who knows? Maybe someday down the road, I'll run into this book again and it'll be the right time. I'll have the free cycles required to devote to learning a language and becoming fluent in 3 months with it. I know that, Tree. I know. That day is probably never going to come. Goodbye, Fluent in 3 months. Goodbye, Benny Lewis. I mean, not goodbye, Benny Lewis. Benny Lewis is fine. Well, actually, I don't know if he's fine. I assume Benny Lewis is fine. Giving away this book has nothing to do with the welfare of Benny Lewis.
Anyway.